Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Prime Minister calls for churches to do more to tackle mental health problems. CLA to address long-standing issues being faced by small ganja farmers. And later in sports, Sunshine Girls now in England for a test series. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shimela Pullen. Here are the details. The government has solicited the help of the church to help deal with mental health issues in the country. Prime Minister Andrew Holness raised the issue at the Heal the Nation, Heal the Family, Heal the Nation National Day of Prayer at the National Arena on Wednesday. O'Shane Masters reports.
In 3 days, the country has recorded 2 suicides. Among the victims is a policeman who was found dead in Westmoreland on Wednesday. It has long been felt that not enough is being done to address the mental health and well-being of citizens. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is looking to the church for help through a new initiative, Heartware.
It is not something that the government can do by itself. It is something that has to be done in conjunction with the church and civil society. It's a whole-of-nation approach to ensuring our mental health.
He deems it important as the government cannot deal with all the ills which faces society.
And sometimes governments fall short because we are looking at the economics, we are looking at the infrastructure, and we are looking at the laws, and we feel sometimes it is not the domain of government to try and spark a social and cultural revolution.
In the meantime, Mr. Holness is imploring citizens to talk about issues affecting them. He says only then can the requisite help be provided.
We Jamaicans, we have a cultural thing about us where we believe we little, but we talawa. We can take on problems that are bigger than us. We don't need nobody to help us with anything. We little, but we talawa, we can take on the problems. And it is particularly the case for our men. They keep the problems inside, they don't talk about it, and it boils up. Government will be pursuing a direct and deliberate program with the churches to have a more robust intervention to support mental health in the country. It's not something that the government should leave up to chance. It is something that we have to be instrumental, deliberate, and proactive in ensuring that we intervene before the crises in people's private lives become a public health matter.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The parish of St. James has been rocked by another murder. The latest murder took place Thursday morning, meters away from the Barnett Street police station. The incident happened minutes after 8. It's not clear what led to the murder. 3 people have now been murdered in the parish since the start of the year. Head of the St. Mary Police Superintendent Gov't Morgan says 2022 was a challenging year for the division as it relates to serious crimes. As such, she's calling for more intervention to solve interpersonal conflicts in the parish. More in this report. Last year, the St. Mary Police Division saw a total of 45 murders. Head of the St. Mary Police Superintendent Gov't Morgan says guns featured in a lot of the cases. Of concern, too, is that some of the murders were committed by persons who do not reside in the parish.
That is unprecedented. What we found, though, is that most of the murders committed were conflict-related, interpersonal conflicts. We also found that we also had 1 or 2 of the incidents, a few of the incidents that took place in St. Mary actually started elsewhere and ended up playing out into murders in St. Mary. So we were able to have a clear-up rate to clear 60% of the serious and violent crimes that were committed overall in the parish.
But while 2022 was a challenging year, Superintendent Morgan says she doesn't want 2023 to end that way. She thinks the residents need to utilize the various services in the parish to resolve conflicts, like the Mediation Justice Center.
I am also reaching out to our justices of the peace in the parish, and we have quite a number of justices of the peace in the parish, and to let the residents in your communities where you live know who you are, and not only to have being a justice of the peace as a part of your resume, but also to utilize what you are trained to do during the training in becoming a justice of the peace, to partake to the residents of the community.
The police, she adds, will be reaching out more to young people in the parish, especially those who are troubled.
Every time we have our community meetings, then we always take along a member or two from Heart NSDA Trust with us. We take the forms with us, and we literally are begging the youngsters to be a part of Heart, to get a skill, get an education, talking to them about the importance of getting a skill and having a good education. We take the forms with them, we encourage them, and we sometimes enroll them on the spot. We are also willing to assist where possible.
And as it relates to the treatment of residents by the police.
And so we would want to say to you out there that if we are having issues with the police, then you can always come to the divisional headquarters and you can state your situation that you may be having with the police so it can be dealt with.
And Superintendent Morgan Simpson says domestic violence continues to be a big problem in the parish. Superintendent Morgan Simpson says in 2022, 199 cases were reported. She says 37 of those cases were males, while 144 were females. However, Superintendent Morgan Simpson thinks those numbers are underreported because persons are afraid to make a report.
That is situated on the grounds of the Gale police station. But what we find is that not many persons want to make use of this facility. They call a lot, but when they're asked to come in, they don't want to come in. So they might go to the police station and make a report, or they might not make a report at all. Luckily, and thank God, there have not been any very, very serious or any murders as a result of domestic violence in this space, and we're happy for that. But to continue to encourage the persons who are so affected to either go to the domestic center at Gale or to report to any of the police stations in the parish.
Concerns are again being raised about the regularization of the funeral industry. This is in light of a resurgence in COVID-19 cases in China and the possibility of it affecting Jamaica. More in this report. Thousands of people in China have been affected by a new COVID-19 variant sweeping through that country. While the Ministry of Health is on high alert, Managing Director of Honeygan's Funeral Home in Westmoreland, Melvin Honeygan, thinks the government needs to do more to prepare for this variant.
They should start to have some advertisements ready to allow people to be alert, be prepared, be ready. Also, if we look at the United States and Canada, they are now saying people traveling from China or anywhere in that region coming to their country has to be COVID-free. Are we waiting until COVID reach here to run after it?
Mr. Honeygan says he and his team are preparing for any eventualities and encourages other colleagues to do the same, especially where hygiene is concerned.
And with this virus, they should take a major look to ensure all those who say they are funeral directors has more than one bathroom in their facilities. Well, as of myself, my business, I am much more prepared today than yesterday, and I'm still making other arrangements to meet the crisis.
Meanwhile, Mr. Honeygan continues to take issue with the lack of regularization of the funeral home sector. This, he says, put employees and customers at great risk.
A lot of people going around today saying they are undertakers, and they are suitcase undertakers. They don't have a proper office. They don't have any storage. So how can you be a funeral director without these facilities? Facilities what count. And we had some earlier meeting with the government speaking about certain things that was necessary. And I am still concerned.
Legislative changes could be coming to make it easy for small ganja farmers to get regulated. That revelation by the Chief Executive Officer of the Cannabis Licensing Authority. She was speaking on Radio Jamaica's Beyond the Headlines on Wednesday. Sandy Williams reports.
Several small ganja farmers and other larger groups have been complaining that requirements for cannabis licenses are too complex and expensive, adding that the support services are also inadequate. Some of the requirements include tax compliance certificate, land title or documents granting authority to access or use of the property for growing ganja, official police records for the owner or all directors as well as for each employee, survey diagram of property and or premises showing all distinct areas among others. According to senior lecturer in the Department of Economics at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Andre Horton, the challenges are forcing some stakeholders to leave the industry. Dr. Horton blames this on the authorities' approach to the business, which he views as being more regulatory than encouraging. Speaking on Radio Jamaica's Beyond the Headlines on Wednesday, Dr. Horton said based on his limited research, several entities are taking steps to pull out of the sector.
They want to move out of Jamaica and they just want to forget about ganja and Jamaica cannabis altogether. It has been antagonistic for them over the last 8 years along all the levels of the value chain. And we estimated back in 2015, the Scarce Commodity, the Social Science Cannabis Research Group, that if Jamaica were to take this industry seriously, we could make at least $11.1 billion US dollars. Yes. Legally per year, which is about 75% of our GDP. Currently, we're not making 10% of that.
While acknowledging that there are challenges, Chief Executive Officer of the Cannabis Licenses Authority, Dania Ashpole, explains that legislative and other changes are to be made.
To what I'd say flagship programs, the alternative development program, what this does, it will allow them to, as a community, register and be integrated with licensed farmers as a mother farm type of concept. The other thing that we're doing squarely within the CLA is that we have submitted drafting instructions for what we call a cultivator's transitional special permit. That will allow reduced security requirements as well as reduced fees. The fees are cut in half for a person who is perhaps not ready to enter the full regulated industry but wants to transition into that regulated industry and allow them a period of 2.5 years to become regularized. Those, I believe, will go to cabinet very shortly.
The CLA was established in 2015 under the Dangerous Drug Amendment Act to establish and regulate Jamaica's legal ganja and hemp industry. Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
For the latest in the world of finance, here's O'Shane Masters with a Business Minute.
iCreate Limited is moving from the junior market to the main market of a Jamaica Stock Exchange in 2023. On December 14, 2022, iCreate issued and listed 641 million new additional ordinary shares on the JSE, which increased its subscribed participating voting share capital issue to more than 700 million, which has exceeded the 500 million threshold prescribed by the JSE junior market. As a result, iCreate advised its shareholders that the company will take the necessary steps to apply for listing on the main market of the JSE. In business overseas, Meta, the parent company of social media site Facebook, has been fined $400 million by Irish regulator for data privacy breaches on Facebook and Instagram for breaking EU data rules. This after inquiries into data processing operations at Meta Ireland. Regulators said they had given Meta 3 months to be compliant and have fined Meta $223 million related to Facebook and $191 million related to Instagram. Meta intends to appeal the substance on the rulings and the fines. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Ashade Masters.
Now for the top regional and international stories.
In regional news, the Bahamas government says it has no plans to impose COVID-19 testing requirements for travelers coming from China. This comes days after the United States and the United Kingdom have already announced stricter measures for travelers coming in from China. However, Bahamas Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville says he will continue to closely monitor the situation. On the international scene, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC), the Ebola outbreak in Uganda is being controlled. Officials say it has been 39 days since the last confirmed case was reported, adding that if no new cases are reported by January 10, the outbreak could be declared over. Since the outbreak was declared in September of 2022, there have been 142 confirmed Ebola cases and 55 deaths in total across 9 districts in Uganda. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jordan Fort.